Hey guys, I just spent a whole month in Portugal with my boyfriend and my family-in-law. And to make things more interesting, we created a bingo. This has sent me on side quests throughout the entire country, often leading to very local, sometimes random experiences. Let's kick things off with the Portuguese trilogy, the three F's. First up is Fátima. Today is a huge day in Portugal. It is the remembrance of a big miracle that took place in Fátima. So we are going to see the procession of the candles in Fátima. It is a pilgrimage place. My boyfriend's family has done the pilgrimage multiple times, and I'm very excited / scared to see how big and immense and impressive this whole gathering of so many people is going to be. I remember the Dia de los Muertos in Mexico and the Semana Santa in Ayacucho being one of the best things I've ever experienced, and I'm hoping for something on the same level. Fátima is an important pilgrimage site in Portugal which attracts pilgrims from all around the world. Between May 13 and October 13 in 1917, 3 children reported seeing 6 appearances of the Virgin Mary, giving 3 future predictions. We came to Fátima on October 12th of 2025 because the yearly candle procession was happening that night. However, people start gathering here already during the day to pray and burn candles in all shapes and sizes for their prayers to be heard. So many people burn candles that they can only burn 1 candle per person, and any extra that they have get melted right away and the wax reused to make candles again. This was a wild concept to me. Inside of the Chapel of Apparitions, on the site where the sightings happened, is the Fátima Virgin, wearing the bullet in her crown that was used to attempt to assassinate Pope John Paul II. Inside of the Basilica of Our Lady of the Rosary, you can find the grave of the 3 children who witnessed the apparitions, 2 of which died mysteriously young, and the other spent her whole life locked up in a convent, allegedly out of her own religious conviction, but still kinda suspicious. They have part of the Berlin Wall here since its fall was one of the predictions. We grabbed a bifana for dinner before finding a spot to watch the procession from. Hundreds of people claimed their spot all day to have the best views of the Virgin making her way across the square. But we got a pretty good spot too. On October 13, or 12 in this case, people gather from all around the world for the procession of the candles, which remembers the miracle that happened here. In 1917, a large crowd gathered in Fátima because in a previous appearance, the Virgin Mary had said that she would appear and perform a miracle on this day. People who were witnesses of this miracle said that they had seen extraordinary solar activity, such as the sun appearing to dance zigzag in the sky, fall towards the earth. The event lasted approximately 10 minutes, and although it had rained right before, everyone was dry after the miracle. This whole thing was definitely a unique experience and showcased that Portugal is still one of the most Christian countries in Europe to this day. And there we go. That is 1 ticked off the bingo. Well, that was a very interesting experience. Ever since having a Portuguese boyfriend, I have been dying to go to Lisbon. And there are a lot of things that we can tick off of the bingo card there. The most important, or the one I am looking forward to the most, is definitely the fado, the second one of the Portuguese trilogy. If you want to see how we spent a lovely time in Lisbon, then definitely check out the separate video I made. I loved strolling through the picturesque streets. We went on an unforgettable sunset boat tour with unlimited drinks, passing by so many iconic landmarks of Lisbon, and afterwards we headed to the gorgeous Alfama district. A tasca is essentially a Portuguese bistro. They are cheap, family-run, and you can enjoy a traditional Portuguese meal with a drink for about 10 to 20 euros most of the time. I wanted to try the piglet at O Arco, but it was the Alentejo style pork that truly stole the show. I will think about this meal for the rest of my life. We ended our day at Típica Bar for a local, non-touristy fado experience that blew our socks off. Chinelas de veludo e o lenço de tricana. Agora vem daí night was one of the best local experiences I have had anywhere. The next morning we headed to the Feira da Ladra, the famous market that takes place every Tuesday and Saturday. For lunch, we had some bifanas. There was a line of people to try this famous snack. However, they have another location without a line of people where we tried the delicious bifana and prego with the typical mustard and some peri-peri sauce. Even though we were still full from the bifana and the prego, we had to try the best pastéis de nata in the world. Don't be fooled by the enormous line here, because the shop next door sells the exact same ones without the line. Locals and tourists agree that these pastéis are worth the hype and the price. My best friend ate no less than 6 pastéis de nata. In the evening, we watched a movie at the stunning open-air cinema. This was another very unique activity to do. Afterwards, we headed to Bom Jardim to try their famous roast chickens, and for 11 euros per person, it did not disappoint. In total, we ticked off 7 things from the bingo in Lisbon. Hello again, guys. The day has come that I finalize the Portuguese trilogy for my bingo. We are going to a Portuguese football game. We are going to see Benfica, which is the team that my boyfriend supports. Don't come at me in the comments, guys. It is what it is, no matter what your preference may be. But I am so excited for this, and I have no clue what I am walking into. Football is a massive deal in Portugal. They even have football shops in the airport as soon as you arrive. Manu is preparing me with all the songs that will be chanted in the stadium. There's a literal Spotify playlist with all the Benfica songs. We parked beneath the Centro Comercial Colombo, which is next to the stadium, and everyone goes and grabs dinner here before the game. We then headed into the stadium. It's important that you book your tickets in advance if you want to have good seats, especially for popular or important games. Something important is that you can't bring any bottled drinks into the stadium. You enter through the right gates, search the right level and section, followed by the correct row and seat number. We have made it to the stadium. The stadium is massive. It's about 3 times the size as the one I'm used to going at home. Now we're just waiting for it to get started. The team mascot is an eagle, and before the game they have an actual eagle flying around the stadium. This is followed by a pretty impressive light show as the players walk onto the field.
Está na hora de nos juntos, todos contra.
Football is the most popular sport in Portugal. Portugal's top domestic league, the Primeira Liga, was founded in 1934 and is home to internationally successful clubs such as FC Porto, Benfica and Sporting. The last 2 are both from Lisbon. These are the big 3, who usually dominate the league. Combined, they have won 11 trophies in international competitions. Of course, when my boyfriend tells anyone he's Portuguese, the first thing that leaves people's mouth is Cristiano Ronaldo, or sí. when it comes to the bingo, this was a must experience. Today we are ticking off a very fun activity from my Portuguese bingo. We are going to a pottery class in one of the pottery capitals of the country called as Sardines. Okay, correction of my boyfriend, Caldas da Rainha. Yeah? No? Yeah, better. Now, this place is famous for a specific kind of pottery, like specifically shaped. However, we are going to give the wheel a go and try and make a few normal looking pieces, but I would love to have a look at the shops as well around to maybe find some souvenirs to take home. Let's get going. Here we had a private workshop with Monique where we got to try many different techniques. We started by hand building with the pinch technique, though this hollowing out technique would have been better for my sardine can, I think. I added some texture, built a lid, did some stamping. In the end, it turned out okay, but you can see that the hollowed out one would have been a bit better. I have been trying to find a way to store and display the shells and shark teeth that I have collected over the years, and I really wanted to make a starfish dish. Getting the dimensions right needed a few tries. However, once I drew a flower instead, it all kind of fell into place somehow. I had some help making the dots, thank God, and I can't wait to see this one painted. Meanwhile, my boyfriend was making an ashtray. Eventually, we switched to wheel throwing, which we both really wanted to give a go. Monique was so helpful. She explained really well what to do while completely leaving us to do the sculpting ourselves. She just made some adjustments to our techniques and form, and I did completely screw up the first one. But I did a pretty good job the second time around. I was not impressed to see that my boyfriend was a natural once again while I messed it up at the first go. After 3.5 hours, we walked off with 4 pieces each, which will now be baked before we can decorate them. Here's Monique's info in case you want to try the same experience for €15 an hour. More of my bucket list got ticked off in Porto. Aside from exploring the sites around the city, we headed across the iconic bridge to Vila Nova da Gaia. Here you can find the cellars where the port wines are being aged. If you want to learn more about our trip to Porto in detail, then check out the separate vlog we made. We have come to the port cellars of Augusto, so we are going to have a tasting for €15 and a guided tour of the cellars as well. On the guided tour, we learned how port is produced, but more importantly, how it is aged, which makes all the difference in port. Only when the harvest and the production of a year is good enough, it will get permission to become a vintage. They will be bottled unfiltered, so it ages in the bottle, compared to the ones who don't get approval, which are kept on the barrels for longer and are then bottled together depending on their age. We tried 6 different ports and we loved the experience. Off we go with a bag full of ports. We got 2 of the 10 years aged port wines, which were not included in the tasting, but we did have a taster afterwards. And then if you bought the bottle, it would get deducted off of the price of your bottle, which was a great deal. That means we had a taster and we loved it so much. It's so caramelly. Really delicious. I thought the vintage ones taste just a bit much like regular red wine, a lot drier, but these ones are really good. We became Porto lovers after this for sure. Once the sun had gone down, we took the metro back into town. Here, we expected to have the best francesinha of Porto and Bração. Though the sauce was good, it did not live up to the expectation of being stuffed with many meats. The filling was simply underwhelming. I feel like it was mostly just ham. The next day, we would continue our mission to find the best sandwich in Porto after our trip through the Douro Valley. We made another video all about our day trip to the Douro Valley, so check it out after this one. But first, let's try the actual best francesinha. We headed to the popular Café Santiago to see if theirs lived up to the hype, which it did. No nonsense of fries on the side, more than just ham. In fact, it had lots of a similar sausage to the cachorrillo, which I loved, a decent cut of steak, and we also didn't take these shared portions, but went for one each, and I am so glad we did. We tried one more thing for lunch the next day in Matosinhos. This seaside town, 15 minutes from the city, is known for its amazing seafood. Many restaurants offer it in their glass terraces, straight off the outdoor grill onto your plate. Serpa Pinto was closed, so we ate at the Seafood for the Poor right next door. We started off with a Portuguese delicacy, which is usually quite expensive due to how hard to get they are. Gooseneck Barnacles are filter-feeding crustaceans that live attached to rocks in the ocean. Not only are they quite rare, but the people harvesting them often risk their lives since they grow where the waves crash onto the rocks the hardest. As you can tell, I needed some time to get the hang of peeling them, but luckily my boyfriend is an expert, so he helped me out. I found the world's tiniest mussel on them. Then it was time to clean our hands as our main course was ready to be enjoyed. From here we walked to the Cannery. For over a century, this sardine factory has kept the traditional method of production alive. We went on a guided tour of the cannery to see the traditional Portuguese food preservation and have a tasting as well, of course. More about it you can see in detail in the Porto vlog. That's another 6 things ticked off on our weekend to Porto. But we weren't done yet. We found a local rancho at a small town near my family-in-law. We arrived at the town party where some fireworks announced the start of the cultural event. The band started playing and headed inside. A rancho is a traditional folk dance. Its origins are deeply rooted in rural Portuguese life, where communities would gather to celebrate harvests, weddings, and religious festivals. Today, they still practice the dance wearing rural clothing from the last century. My favorite dances were the ones where the ladies twirled with their skirts. It sure was a sight to see. This had to be accompanied by a beer, of course, and I loved seeing the local kids joining in on the dance. One of our favorite things on the bingo was by far visiting the Alentejo region. We went to the beautiful Évora, which has become one of my favorite cities in Portugal. We saw many cromlechs and menhirs, endless stunning landscapes. We visited the castle of Monserrat and so much more. You can see all about it in the Alentejo vlog. Then there's a few that I'm not sure if they really count. We did go to see the Berlengas Islands, however we did not set foot on them yet. We spent most of our time below the water and spotted tons of octopus and other cool creatures. Peniche is the gateway to the islands and famous for its many surf schools. I didn't end up taking any lessons here, but we did visit one of the most famous surf sites in the world, Nazaré. Nazaré is a small coastal town known around the world for its enormous waves. During the winter months, the largest surfable waves in the world crash on the Nazaré shores. When my boyfriend said that we would go fishing, I expected that we would catch giant fish off the back of a boat. So when he took me to a small pond near his house, I was slightly underwhelmed. But then eventually he taught me and I got to give it a go myself. And I actually caught a few fish, although they escaped before I could get a video each time. But oh well, better luck next time.
Oh, yeah! Oh, got it!
Talking about fish, Portugal is a seafood paradise. It's affordable and delicious, fresh or preserved like the Portuguese cod, which is salted and reminds me of our Belgian dry fish. They rehydrate the bacalhau and prepare it in 1001 ways. Roasted or deep-fried castanhas are another classic in autumn, and so delicious. The family killed their pig and made me eat the ears and the skin, but I definitely prefer my pork in a roasted chorizo. These slugs I hope to never eat again. And most meals go accompanied by the nightly quiz or the Price is Right with the Fat Man. So, what do you think? Did my bingo help me to experience the real Portugal? Were there still some things missing? I didn't get to attend the bullfights, but obviously those are getting less common. I also didn't learn how to sing a pimba song. I am still working on my Portuguese. It is getting better though. And there are still so many places in the south and in the north that I would love to see. If you have any recommendations, any suggestions at all, then leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see the Mexico videos coming up. And a trip to Budapest, Prague, and lots more. And then I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!